This aircraft is going to start phasing in and replacing all of our old legacy 53 Echoes, and immediately is going to have an impact on the number of missions and the capability that we'll be able to do that we currently that we simply can't do right now with our existing aircraft.
The transition is very simple. As the pilots have said, the basic aircraft flies like a 53, and then on top of that, all the advanced augmented modes really simplifies the aircraft.
I'm very familiar with the current aircraft that you have in the Israeli Air Force, which is basically the CH-53 Delta. This aircraft, so the CH-53 Delta max gross weight is 42,000 pounds. This is 88,000 pounds. So one of these equals two of the 53Ds.
If Israel were to order the aircraft, would it be able to service it fully in Israel?
Yeah, I certainly expect so. I mean, I think we would be certainly willing to help participate in the transition to make that possible. But certainly in the same way that we would transition to the Marine Corps and allow them to do that, I'd see no reason why we couldn't do that. We ramped to production, with the current plan that the Marine Corps has. There is excess capacity, so really it's a question to what extent, how much the Israelis would want the aircraft just like the Marine Corps. And if that was the case, then obviously much sooner, as production, will start through 2020, 2021, and beyond. If they want significant changes, of course, that'll cause it to delay a little bit.
I think as soon as someone a pilot jumps into the cockpit and sees the glass displays and all the information that's provided to them, that'll be a game changer. The way the aircraft flies is much more sophisticated.
I think it's going to make an immediate impact in safety. It's easier to fly and it's easier to control the aircraft.
This aircraft has a lot of automated features where you're going to be able to pick a route, and let's say you'd like the aircraft to come into a steady hover at 20 feet over a certain point on the ground. You can program that, hit a button, and the aircraft will actually fly to that point, pick up the hover.
The aircraft stabilized in an absolutely motionless hover, and knowing how well it's going to do that in the austere environments when you can't see outside the aircraft and you really need that help, I knew at that moment that this was a game changer.
I did a tour in Iraq in 2008, and then I was in Afghanistan in 2010. Being in a desert environment, it was definitely a very difficult and dangerous environment. One of the things that this model does very great is it has gone away from the mechanical flight control system and went to an automated flight control system, which will make flying around in those austere environments safer.
The aircraft is now going to be able to do a lot more of the work that currently the pilots have been able to do. That will free the pilots up to do the things that only the pilots can do: communicate, analyze the mission, make real-time decisions and changes on the fly, which are required on almost every mission that we go on.
This airplane is quite a bit more modern. This is 21st century technology. So the cockpit is glass cockpit.
And gone to a fully glass cockpit. So the amount of information presented to the pilots, it's a lot more information, and it's a lot more readable. And we have a lot more control over what the aircraft tells us and what we can ask the aircraft to do.
If you have much more lift capability, you can move a lot more gear or people. Your efficiency in terms of the number of sorties that you have to fly goes up tremendously, and your exposure to enemy fire goes way down.
The aircraft has survivability of not only the aircraft but of the cockpit and the crew and all the passengers built into the aircraft. There's a number of systems on there. There's certainly been advanced versus the previous aircraft, but specifically what systems, probably can't go into that detail.